Pak government sends 200 coffins from Quetta to Bolan. Pakistan braces for worst amid hostage crisis. Railway services to Quetta suspended. Pakistan refuses to negotiate. Military operation continues. BLA warns, release prisoners or face consequences. Pakistan train hijack. Top focus on India first.
Good evening. There's been massive escalation in Pakistan. The crisis is deepening. The Balochistan Liberation Army has issued a statement saying 100 Pakistan security forces personnel have been executed by the Balochistan Liberation Army. They say this is a tactical response to the atrocities by the Pakistan Army and the fact that Pakistan Army was not negotiating with the BLA on a prisoner of war exchange. The Pakistan government, and I want you to see those visuals on your television screen, the Pakistan government, is this a very clear indication that they will not negotiate with the Balochistan Liberation Army? They've actually dispatched 200 coffins, not just to Quetta, but on a special train from Quetta towards Mach, where this hostage crisis is unfolding, or right now where the military operations are unfolding. So they are showing coffins being sent to that area. Is this psychological warfare from both sides? Of course, 30 hours after the crisis, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has finally broken his silence. Shehbaz Sharif says he's deeply shocked by this heinous act, but the situation right now is extremely grave. Balochistan Liberation Army claiming they've executed 100 Pakistan Army soldiers. What they're also saying is they will continue the execution. They have more than 150 still in their custody. I want to get to the latest report that's coming in from Balochistan. As this crisis deepens and worsens, Pakistan Army has dispatched 200 coffins to the Bolan area. And information from Pakistan is that the army is prepared for the worst. The Balochistan Liberation Army today released a video of how the Jafar Express was hijacked south of Quetta. And it's a detailed video that shows the train coming into the mountainous terrain, and that's where a series of explosions go off on the tracks. Of course, the Balochistan Liberation Army, then, according to eyewitness accounts and survivors, those survivors have told journalists when they reach back safely that BLA fighters permitted them, especially those with children and women and elderly parents, they permitted them to leave, saying, we have no enmity with you. Our war is with the Pakistan Army. Pakistan security forces personnel were held back. The BLA has since issued a statement saying, because the Pakistan Army was not negotiating a return or exchange of prisoners of war, 100 Pakistan Army personnel have been executed. They say the remaining will be executed in the next 24 hours. We get you more in our top story.
The Balochistan Liberation Army releases the first images of the Bolan attack. The video shows the Jafar Express in control of Balochistan rebels after they hijacked the Jafar Express, which was going from Quetta to Peshawar with hundreds of passengers in 9 bogies with dozens of security personnel. The attack took place at around 1 p.m. when the train passed through the Bolan Pass at tunnel number 8. The insurgents still hold hundreds of hostages even as security forces carry out rescue operations. Over 100 passengers have been rescued by the Pakistani security forces. The army also claims they have killed over 25 rebels in the gunfight. Pakistani PM Shehbaz Sharif has said security forces are eliminating terrorists. The BLA, on the other hand, claims they have killed several security personnel. The BLA claims they have released all women and children who were on the train. Pakistani journalists say that Sharif government is suppressing coverage of the train hijack, whereas Baloch journalists claim the attack on the train is the result of Pakistan government's brutality.
This is a result of 78 years of military brutalities in Baluchistan. I am extremely upset that the Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and also the President of Pakistan Asif Zardari, they have been busy trying to please the Army GHQ in Rawalpindi and the APARA headquarters.
The BLA has given a 48-hour deadline to release all political prisoners in exchange for releasing all passengers. The rebels have threatened to kill more hostages if the demands are not met. With Hamza Azhar from Islamabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's try and make sense of what's happening in Balochistan. Joining me on this special broadcast is Tilak Deveshar. He's an author on a book on Balochistan. He's also a member of the National Security Advisory Board. He's someone in the Cabinet Secretariat, has studied Pakistan and Balochistan very closely. Also with me on this special broadcast is Mehran Mari, a Baloch activist, and Mona Alam is a senior journalist who joins us from Pakistan. And Mona, let me quickly come to you first and ask you, what's the latest, Mona? What can you tell us? BLA claims they have killed, they've executed 100 Pakistan security forces personnel.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav. I'm glad that you're following up this tragedy, and I hope that this becomes a never forgive, never forget moment for Pakistan, because at least the nation cannot afford to go unabated with such attacks. And I hope, this becomes a stark reminder for all of us to reunite on this grave concern and grave matter of terrorism, especially in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The latest that I have as of now is this, that the clearance operation is in its final phases. Hundreds have been rescued, but I think Balochistan government has quoted that around 200 casualties have been reported. I mean, I don't have any figure for the security personnel who have lost lives in the combat. But there are the passengers who were traveling from Quetta to Peshawar in this Jafar Express. Many of them have lost lives. There's an emergency in hospitals nearby and in the vicinity of the attack. And quite many of them, scores of people, scores of innocent, unarmed civilians have been rushed to those hospitals. They're right now undergoing their treatments. And this operation is in its final phases. I'm going to have better numbers in a while, I'm sure. But for now, this is what I have, and quite many of, I think 20, all of the terrorists have been neutralized. The number that I have for the neutralized terrorists are 20.
Let me take this to Mehran Mari. Mehran, is there something that you can tell us about why Pakistan Security Forces personnel were executed as per that BLA statement, and more than 100, and I believe according to the statement, another 150 remain in the custody of the Baloch Liberation Army? The Pakistan Army claims all Baloch fighters have been executed.
I think this particular incident is proving a lot of things to be right and exposing Pakistan's true face and the real ugly face of Pakistani politicians, the military, and this presence in Balochistan. After 30 hours now, Shehbaz Sharif has woken up and has issued a statement that he's very sad on what's happening. It just shows what a banana republic this is, with a sham democracy and with puppet representatives. I mean, it's a joke. The military runs the show, and the military is telling the Prime Minister what to say, the journalists what to say. The people of Pakistan are being informed according to the military's liking. The reality is totally distorted. It's a totally big campaign of disinformation and misinformation. Everybody's making up numbers according to their liking.
security forces personnel Mehran Mali be executed when negotiations, that 48-hour window was still not over? What's changed? What changed on ground?
I think the tabuts being there, the coffins being sent by the Pakistani military and and Quetta railway area being cordoned off, probably Beijing told them sacrifice the soldiers and go and carry out a military operation against the hostages. So they knew they were going to be executed. And for Pakistani generals, Pakistani soldiers are fodder. They have no value. So basically, I'm sure it was all planned by the Pakistani military to get them executed, and they must have attacked the tunnel or the train.
Mr. Deveshar, what is your appreciation? Because in the fog of war, there's often psyops or psychological warfare. Is the Pakistan Army sending these 200-odd coffins to send a message we will not negotiate with the Baloch Liberation Army, and the Baloch Liberation Army claiming that it's executed 100 personnel is psychological warfare to put pressure on the Pakistani state or the country? How do you read this?
If you look at the social media, there are some people on X who have tweeted that according to the ISPR, the operation is over. They have killed 33 fighters, and the rest have been rescued. So, I mean, and what you have said is quite different, that the operation is continuing. So, as you rightly mentioned, the fog of disinformation is so much that you really don't know that whether is the operation actually over? Are the militants still holding the hostages? Have the hostages been killed? But, this sending of 200 coffins, I don't think so. It's a cyber. I think it's a very cruel joke that even before the operation is over, the Pakistan Army has washed its hands of its own people and sending them, to, I am pretty shocked that why would they send? I mean, in any kind of hostage situation, you try till the last to save the hostages.
Yes.
Sending coffins, I think, was a bad sign. If they thought that they were achieving some cyber objectives, I'm not sure they actually were. But coming back to your question, there is a lot of misinformation going on, and we still don't have the correct picture of what is happening on the ground. You see, I think, as far as the Baloch fighters are concerned, it was a suicidal mission. They knew they're not going back. But for the soldiers, I'm sure they would have thought that their officers and their senior leadership would save them. That's what normally all army expect, that they would be saved. So, I don't know. I would rather wait for more information than to sort of come to any conclusion.
Mona, because, I am not surprised. I covered the Kargil war in 1999, and I saw Pakistan Army abandon its dead and living even in Kargil. So, are you surprised? What do you make of 200 coffins being sent? I would expect any army across the world to go to the last mile to save a fallen brother in arms. But clearly, Pakistan Army doesn't seem to be doing that, Mona.
I feel everybody is interpreting these coffins as per their own likings and as per their own ulterior motives. The fact is that these coffins have been sent for those innocents, those civilians who have died, who have been martyred at the hands of these BLA terrorists. This is why the coffins are being sent. I think I've already confided to quite many of our journalist friends who are reporting on this in their own media, international media, that there were suicide bombers who were threatening the hostages that they're going to explode among them. And this is why the army had taken a very cautious approach. Had they done anything, there was this fear staring right into the eye for them that they're going to explode those human bombs that the BLA had created, and they were among the hostages. These are the innocents. I mean, these coffins are not to get the soldiers into them. These coffins are meant for the civilians who are martyred at the hands of these terrorists. I'm so sorry that I agree that there is a lot of information, or rather should I say disinformation, in the social media domain, because these terrorists are trying to propagate it as though they've done a very heroic act by targeting innocent children, women. Once again, this is what they're expert at.
Survivors,
this is what
if
they've
I
done
may,
their
Mona,
PhD at.
and Mehran Mari also wants to come in and address
Unfortunately,
Mr.
this is just
Deveshar.
disinformation.
Mona, the survivors, and they're Pakistani survivors, speaking to Pakistani media, saying the Baloch liberation fighters permitted us to leave. They said, you are with women and children, you may go. Our war is not with people, it's with the army. But Mr. Deveshar, you wanted to come in before Mr. Mari. Mr. Deveshar, go on, sir.
I wanted to ask Mona ji, which civilians are you talking about?
Thank you.
Because the Baloch fighters had released all the women, the children, and the civilians. The only people who were left on that train, as per reports coming out from them, were the Pakistan Army soldiers. So which civilians are you saying have been killed?
Sir, if I may, I think this is the most unsuitable source of information that one can go by. You saying this and claiming to go by certain videos, those videos may be old, those videos may not be
These are
of
videos
that very event.
Of this of today, of survivors who reached the railway station, told Pakistani journalists that it's on Pakistan TV, ma'am, that we were permitted to leave by Baloch fighters.
Are you aware, Gaurav, that they're the ones who had some months ago stopped a civilian bus and checked all their ID cards and killed them on basis of ethnicity and nationality? They're the ones. I mean, they killed all Punjabis. They isolated all Pashtuns and all Baloch, and they isolated Punjabis and they killed them, massacred them. I mean, these are the people. If this is the source to go by, then I would extremely be sorry, and I would.
No, we're going by what Pakistani media is saying, and if you say Pakistan TV is unreliable, I'll completely go by what you're saying.
They're trying to prove us that they're humans or superhumans, and they're trying to prove us that they have some mercy for women and children. This is the most obnoxious joke.
I'll just ask my producers to play that out. We'll just get out those reactions. And you must listen to them yourself, Mona. My producers will just play that out in just a moment. But there's breaking news that's coming in. Pakistan Army has just issued a statement 30 hours after the hijack of the train hijack. Pakistan Army says all 30. Now they're confirming there are 30 BLA fighters. They're saying all have been killed. Pakistan Army says passengers were used as human shield. Pakistan Army says all hostages have been recovered. Pakistan Army says 21 passengers and 4 soldiers have been killed in the attack. So for 21 passengers and 4 soldiers, that would make it 25. Why would they send 200 coffins? Is a little, it defies logic. But Mehran Mari, are you picking up any additional information? Is this operation over? Have all the fighters been killed? We were told that the 200 plus hostages had been split into 5 different groups and taken to 5 different areas.
I was on an earlier talk show with General Janjua from the Pakistan Army, and he said the coffins had been sent to Quetta because there's a shortage of wood in Baluchistan, therefore it's for the general public, and people are just misinterpreting this whole thing. My God, you have to understand, these Pakistani military people and their so-called fake journalists, they have to read the script that's been sent from Pindi. Doesn't matter what reality is. The lady will only say what she's been sent to read. And this is the reality. Once the world accepts that, then the true picture of the whole situation and the scenario will be clear. They just read the script. Doesn't matter what the reality is. I mean, can you just see the audacity of them? They just sit in front of you.
I want to bring in Mr. Deveshar because I want to understand. Mr. Deveshar, Mona was hoping that Pakistan would unite as one to fight Baloch, Liberation Army or Baloch fighters or BRAS after this. But your appreciation, because when we were talking about the Pakistan, the attack that had taken place by terrorists on Army Public School Peshawar, and 150 Pakistan Army children were killed and teachers were massacred. Pakistan Army didn't turn a new leaf and start fighting terrorists or stop making that distinction between good terrorists and bad terrorists. They took it as collateral damage. Will this also be collateral damage for Pakistan? Mr. Deveshar, in your appreciation?
You see, that was a slightly different incident because children were involved. So the passions were really inflamed. And so thereafter, this National Action Plan or Zarb-e-Azb exercise. So for some couple of years at least, the National Action Plan was followed. But today, where is the National Action Plan? Where is NACTA? It is just fallen by the wayside. And then Pakistan Army had to launch Raddul Fasad. Now they're talking about Azb-e-Istikam. So it just gets sort of dissipated. But when it comes to Baluchistan, I don't think so. There's the same kind of urgency. And Baluchistan does not have the resonance for everybody to come together. You see, forget the terrorists. Pakistani politicians are not even able to unite amongst themselves.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, the Imran Khan's party and Shehbaz Sharif's party, the PMLN, they can't sit in the same room and discuss national issues. So where is the question of uniting? It's a very good sentiment that Monaji has mentioned, to unite when you're faced with this kind of an emergency. Now tell me, when was the last time that the National Security Council or Committee had met?
Or even now, there's been no cabinet meeting, it seems, Mona. That's what Pakistani media has been reporting. In fact, they're lamenting the fact that there is no coherent strategy to deal with the situation on ground, either tactically now or strategically in the long run, Mona.
Yes, I would unfortunately reckon with Sir on this. This is extremely true, and it's as unfortunate as it could be. I would also be very critical of Interior Minister's remark on the matter, because he had said some months ago that terrorists in Balochistan would be neutralized by just an SHO of the police. So, I mean, he was trying to, in his own appreciation or in his own comprehension, he was trying to, say that it's a matter of they're not as powerful, or they're not as mighty, and it's very easy for us to take them down. But unfortunately, there is nothing that comes without a consensus. This is as true as it could be. Upon the Army Public School massacre, that was the worst massacre against young children that had ever happened in recent history. And fortunately for us, it reunited people from all spheres of politics. And Imran Khan had also come to the table. Nawaz Sharif was the prime minister back in the day. National Action Plan was formed. NACTA came into being. A lot was done. And yes, Sir is right.
And yet terrorists continue to thrive in Pakistan.
Because it did not continue, Gaurav. There is no consistency.
There's another
in the
aspect
matter.
I want to come
right
to.
Now, the politicians and government and opposition are fighting like cats and dogs. What else do we expect?
Yes, it's so unfortunate for Pakistan. The way we look at it from here, we are watching it, very carefully. But Mr. Deveshar, now that BLA or all the Baloch groups and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan are coming together, and Baloch fighters are also now targeting the security forces in the Pashtun belt, what do you make of this? Is this now such a strong entity all along the Durand line that Pakistan Army, can they take them on, or now they cannot take them on in your view?
You see, the cooperation which has been reported in the Pak media between the Baloch groups and the TTP, if so, is purely a tactical alliance. You see, ideologically, the Baloch are a secular people, whereas the TTP's whole game is to impose Sharia. So I don't see how the two of them can come together. But yes, for tactical reasons, since the enemy is common, which is the Pakistan Army, they can cooperate for tactical reasons. And also, I think throughout history, as has been shown, the Baloch are happy with their area. I don't see the Baloch venturing out anywhere else into somebody else's territory. Similarly, the Pashtuns, they know that what area is there. Quetta and north of Quetta is the Pashtun area, and south of Quetta is the Baloch area. I don't see the Baloch venturing out, into somebody else's.
Can the Pakistan Army take on the Baloch the way they are going right now? Or is this situation and the terrain and the kind of weapons that they have, Pakistan Army will not be able to do anything differently from what it has been doing all along? Mr. Deveshar, last 30 seconds that I have on this part of the show.
So for the last 70 years as well. I mean, the last 70 years, the Pak... Go ahead, Mehran, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Mari. Okay, go on.
But one thing you have to fundamentally understand, countries have an army. In Pakistan, the army has a country. It's managing a whole country. It's not a professional army. These are businessmen who make conflicts and concrete, and they run businesses. You have to understand, do not classify the Pakistani army as a real professional army to the international standards. These are big-bellied fat cats who make money.
But it's a huge setback even for CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Will China want to invest more money if Pakistan army soldiers are also not safe, Mona?
Well, I think China knows the situation on ground, and this situation has existed, before China had ventured into Balochistan. So they're very privy to the matter. They're very privy to these snakes and these terrorists whom, unfortunately, Balochistan and the land of Balochistan has harbored. But I say this with all responsibility that they're just handful. And
Okay, but now they're
they do
escalating,
not
even
in
if they're
any
just a
way depict
handful.
the
I do not
majority.
know the numbers, but even if they're a handful, they were able to take a train hostage and target Pakistani security forces at multiple places simultaneously. I've run out of time on this part of the show. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me.